Hey everyone, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to turn 46 of Pokemon Gold, where we are playing Cyanwood City. Let's jump into the turn. Okay, so a little bit less of a expansive turn. You might see we're making more attacks than it seems like Olivine City is. This is good. I'm hoping that this is a swing in the right direction for us, but we're still going to go through everything just to take a look. See how it goes. So, no new magic sites. Throughout our site searching. We did get a golem construction. Unfortunately, didn't get anything with our remote site searching. No big deal. Unrest is increasing in Cyanwood City. That means he has a spy there. So we're going to try to handle that. Same thing in Viridian City. We are patrolling in Viridian City already. I'm not super worried about it, but we'll see. Okay, so we've got a couple of battles. We are raiding with Falco's group, I believe. We attack in Windsong Forest, and we win there. We attack in Omicria, and we kill 4 Steelixes. This is very good. We're going to watch this, and immediately on watching this, I was like, oh shit, yeah, obviously, fuck. Because I remember, golems are inanimate, they can't regen. So, outside of having the plus to be able to regenerate, so, those rings of regeneration that I've purchased, or that I've gotten, or that I've made, are useless on the golems. That's okay, they are not useless on other targets. We will still use them, no big deal. Okay? But we are successful with this golem, we are successful with this golem. We are attacked by Steelix champion, lose. We do some more raiding here, lose here in Hobergdorf. Did more raiding. This is counter raiding, actually. And then took back Wellred as well. And we have moved into the Scarce Hope Wastes. And we take Saffron City. So we've got a couple of important battles that we're going to watch. We're not going to watch this because it's literally just against PD, but good stuff. I will say this. This is extremely strong province defense, right? These scissors are fucking intense with this air slash. Like damn, you know? Just throwing that out there. Okay, we got a Skull Minter. A skull of a legendary mage has been unearthed and transported to the lab. Very cool. Battle afflictions cured. Units cured of their disease. And we are starving in impassable mountains still. We got some promotions as well. So let's go back to Omicria and Griffin Rock and watch these. So this is the battle in Omicria. Our golem, who is using Ring of Regeneration, that will do him nothing, goes through his Spiel, Body Ethereal, Resist Magic, and Astral Shield. Now, Astral Shield is probably not going to do anything against these Steelixes. No, they have a 20... Even the regular Steelixes have a 21 magic resistance. That's crazy. But the Astral Shield is there in case he runs into any larger amount of province defense. It's just going to help defend him, basically. So, we're just going to put this on medium speed. He runs forward. And he goes to punch it. Hitting real hard. Able to push through the defense of these Steelixes. So he's already popped one. Pops another. Now this is a little challenging because he's getting pushed around by so many. If there were enough Steelixes, he absolutely would lose, right? Like if this was 20 Steelixes or something like that, he would lose. And why he would lose is because almost every time he gets trampled, he loses 1 point of HP, and he's actually taking a few hits here or there. He doesn't have very good defense skill, right? So he actually is getting pushed around by the Steelixes and occasionally taking hits. Most of those hits are negated by High Protection and Body Ethereal, right? But more often than not, he takes a little bit of chip damage here or there. That's what the Ring of Regeneration was for, but he's inanimate, so can't be regenerated. So this is a concern. This is a success, right? But it's also a concern. Um, so large enough amounts of Steelixes are going to be problems for the golems. So what I'm probably going to need to be doing is I'm probably going to need to be doing the golems as more quick defensive options, and the main forces like Chuck as actual battle options. Okay, watch that. That one's done. Go to the next one. This is going to be a very similar scenario, but I think we have a good example of taking a chunky hit. So we come in, and we pop that guy. So this guy is the one with the Eye Catcher Dusk Dagger combo. And I was very interested in seeing whether or not... So Eye Catcher Dusk Dagger, obviously the Gate Cleaver works, right, against the multiple Steelixes. But I was curious as to whether or not Eye Dagger or Eye Catcher Dusk Dagger would work. Because if you're not always hitting the same target, right, there's the chance that you're not going to actually finish anybody off. But it seems like he does a very good job of catching eyes and bleeding, so he does just fine, basically. Now he might have a harder time against a Steelix champion, or heaven forbid, again, multiple Steelix champions. He took a big hit. And these guys basically just get fatigued out because of the intense combo. Very nice. So, that's pretty much that. Easy peasy. So that combo also does work. So great. We are in a very interesting board state. You might see that for the first time in several turns, we are in control of the majority of our territory. The only territory that we owned prior to this scenario that we do not currently own is Hobergdorf, Kratos, and Giant Spine. I think this is one of the first turns, ignoring the initial stages of the war, right? When Olivine actually started attacking me and we were definitely going at each other, the first couple turns, me taking these portions don't really count. But this is probably the first turn where I have been significantly up. So I am down these 3 provinces, but I have Scarce Hope Waste, I have Griffin Rock, I have Wellrid, I have Omicria, I have Saffron City, right? And so Omicria and Saffron City are very big pools. Griffin Rock would be very big with this gold mine if we could ever get the unrest down, which we're trying to do. So this is because we have multiple different forces that are facing off against his forces, right? We have 2 golems in the field right now. We have Robodan in the field. We have Chuck in the field. We have Kathleen with her little mini unit that's in the field. We have Yazar who's in the field. Those 6 can all actually face down, and not always, like I don't think they're always going to be successful, but those 6 actually can face down enemy units. And then we have in the field, we have a half a dozen others, right? We have Zarin, we have Benna, we have Ekis over here, we have Vano jumping around, we have Falco and Wiglia, right? We have we have Urborn jumping around. So we have all of these different little anti-raiding or counter-raiding groups that are also doing work as well. And this is we lose little groups like Ekis. We've lost probably half a dozen of them, but they're ridiculously easily replaceable for us. Where I think they're not so much easily replaceable for Olivine. Olivine has invested a lot into these Steelixes, into both the Steelix champions and the little groups of Steelixes. And I don't think they're super easy to replace. I could be wrong, but I think if things continue to go as they are for maybe another 5 turns, I think we're going to see a sharp downhill spike for Olivine. That may not be the case, right? It may be the case that it very well may be the case that Olivine comes online in the next couple turns, and we have another pushback. We will see, though. So let's talk about what's actually going on this turn. We'll do our normal scenario of the different fronts. In the Olivine City front, business as usual with all of our uprisings, except you might notice that we're getting 3 attacks this turn instead of our normal 1, or our normal 1.5, right? So we're actually moving in with Eleophis, we're moving in with Falco, we're moving in with Wiglia, and we've got another 2, Dolgad and Feral, coming up to Omicria, who will hopefully be raiding next turn as well, right? Or the turn after that, basically. So we're trying to ramp up the amount that we can get into his lands. These parties are extremely fragile, right? They can be taken out very quickly, and I expect us to start losing more here and there to remote assassinations, etc. But I think that for what they're doing, what they're accomplishing, they're a pretty decent investment. So hopefully they go well. We can start to impact. Let's actually take a look at this real quick. We can start to impact Olivine's bottom line. We can already see the dip in province control, right? Mirrored basically from him taking our territory. You can see our curve back up, but also from him taking Violet City's territory, right? So he got a big boost from both Violet City and me. And now he's starting to curve down while we're starting to curve up, and Violet City is just flat. So, let's actually look at actual income. So he took a sharp hit when we basically took back, I think when we sat on Saffron, he took that second big hit again. But we'll see, right? We'll see if this actually sticks. He's been all over the place, up and down with like increases and decreases, etc. Okay, so that's how things are going in an Olivine City front. In the Saffron City front, we've got a whole shit ton of movement. Okay, so we are actually moving Robidan out of Saffron City, but we are posturing. I probably do not plan to move Robidan very far, but I am posturing with him to be able to move towards Greenwall if I feel like I can, right? Mostly I just want to be on the move and keep new provinces. If they hit Saffron City, they're going to need a lot to pop it in a single turn. I want Robidan nearby to be able to defend it, okay? This is slightly dangerous. Again, he could pop up with a champion and a schoolgirl at any time. That combo basically makes it to where Robidan cannot beat that, but you gotta take some risks every once in a while, and this is a risk that I feel okay about. If we were to lose Robidan's army right now, we are basically at the point, it would hurt, but we are basically at the point where we have a replacement online next turn. So Robidan's moving out into Berman Highs. Urborn is just continuing to troll around as he does. In Omicria, we're actually moving Zarin over to Kunal. We're going to move and patrol him. Elephis, as I said, is attacking into Olivine's lands, and then from Griffin Rock, we're moving and patrolling onto Omicria. Now, Omicria and Kunal have been 2 of our most targeted locations, so I'm basically, in an effort to try to catch out champions, I'm going to probably have my golems be moving around and patrolling my territory constantly. Right, that's the plan. To try to catch these champions is to move them around, patrolling, and hopefully we land on a Machampion, kill a Machampion. Or not a Machampion, a Steelix champion. And then Zephyron is actually going to be patrolling, like he was trying to do previously. He's going to be patrolling in Griffin Rock to try to get this unrest down. Okay, so that's kind of what's happening in Saffron City. We are recruiting a Pokefan mom. Again, I think we want more Pokefan moms there. And you might see this little gray arrow. We are moving in a very stealthy Alkalite to hopefully in another turn or two put a temple down in Saffron City. Once we have that temple down, we're going to start recruiting Steelix champions. So this is going to be a very focused effort of keeping control of Saffron City. We want that because of the 6 Astral Pearls, right? Very big deal for us. And we want that because of the potential to recruit these Steelix champions. Steelix champions are going to make it very easy. It's actually kind of crazy how reliant we are on Earth, right? But we have an Earth 2, we have an Earth 2, we have an Earth 2, we have a Earth 1, right? We're so heavily into Earth, but we have to rely on these randoms. Our highest Earth is a 2, with the chance of getting a random Earth 5, but that chance is so low, right? That it's just way more consistent for us if we start producing Steelix champions to get Earth 4 and then take advantage of these 50% randoms. And even if we don't get the 50% randoms, just getting a base Earth 4, which we can kit out in items, allows us to easily boost the Steelix champions to the level that we need. We can hopefully in the near future focus on getting up Earthblood Deepwell, other things. Like, I feel if we actually had a decent Earth, like a Earth 4 or something like that on our, like a base Earth 4 on one of our units, we would already have Earthblood Deepwell up. We would have had Earthblood Deepwell up 10 turns ago, probably. I would have just held my Earth Gems and we'd have it up at this point. But it is what it is, no big deal. That is the plan. We are also doing some Haruspex casting. We're doing every single site searching spell that we can do now. We're basically going to be spamming constantly. We're at the point to where the things that we have massive incomes for, we want to inflate those massive incomes for, and we can spend 2 gems a turn and not worry about it. The things that we don't have massive pools of, sorry, not incomes, but pools. The things that we don't have massive pools for, we have enough income to afford to do a site search each turn, and we're going to do it. Because that's the only way that we're going to generate massive pools, is by grossly inflating the number of sites that we have. And we just got to cross our fingers for that. So we're going to be doing Haruspex. We're also, if you can see, we're forging an endless bag of wine. This is almost entirely because of Impassable Mountains. Over in the Viridian City front, kind of maybe jumping into the Violet City front, actually. This might be a new front that we talk about. Because we're moving Chuck onto Violet City this turn. This is a very obvious move, and this is dangerous. He could do some pretty reactionary things to us here. But I'm willing to take this chance because from what I'm reading here, right, it doesn't look like he has that much here. And 2, I don't know what he does from what I've seen of his bag of tricks, I don't know what he does to beat this. Now, he can hurt this army really, really bad. Absolutely. But I don't know what he does to actually beat Chuck, is the thing. So, we'll see how that goes. It might not actually go well for us, but we'll see. Okay? So that's the Violet City front. In Viridian City, we're doing a bunch of different things. We're moving Ekis around, we're moving Vanna around. We have Arcane Probing going off. And we're actually doing... We have Kathleen still patrolling. Right, with her little goon squad. There was something else that we were... I don't remember what it was. Oop. I gotta keep an eye on this. I'm trying to keep everything, like, nice and cleaned out, but we keep generating dumb shit like this. Right? That has to go into the useless bin. I thought there was something else that I was doing over here in Viridian. Oh, I think I'm finally recruiting someone for the first turn in like 50 turns into Viridian, because we actually had like 400 gold this turn. Jesus, having income again is pretty nice. So maybe that was it. Maybe that's the only thing that's really happening over there. Cyanwood City, a bunch of different stuff is happening. So in Impassable Mountains, we are going to try to get our supply uses under control. We have thrown on the enormous Cauldron of Broth, which I should have done many turns ago. It was very dumb of me not to do that. I have a horrible host of diseases and wounds because of not managing this supply usage very well. The Endless Bag of Wine is going to push us over the top, but that is a stopgap measure. We've talked about this before already, but eventually I'd like to shove some of these guys into Omicria and then probably into Saffron City as a base. We're not going to do that yet because we need some troops to be able to transfer them around. We're going to take this Cyanwood. We're recruiting another nurse, right? And that nurse is expressly for the reason of helping to mitigate some of these. We want to not lose these guys. We want to heal up these diseases as quickly as possible. We might take another 1 or 2 of turns to throw in a couple more nurses, right? Depending on what happens. But also, we're probably going to grab some leaders and start moving non-diseased individuals into Omicria and then potentially into Saffron City. But that's going to depend on how the battles play out. So we'll see. Okay. Ziyazar is moving around, counter-raiding, etc. I think that's about it that's going on here. We're moving around Zarin. We're moving around Benna, just fishing for raids. And then we're doing a number of things here. So we're moving Dolgad, we're moving Feral, right? We're doing a couple of different remote site searches, and then you might see our forging, right? What's happening with our forging is mostly we're going back to some Owl Quills, Lightless Lanterns, as we start to generate more researchers, right? But we're also forging Bracers of Protection. And the Bracers of Protection are legitimately just quick stopgap items to fill in the golems, right? The Bracers of Protection are going to give them a little bit more protection, a little bit more defense, and we can replace their Rings of Regeneration with Bracers of Protection. They're 1 Earth Gem. They're very cheap for us to make, and they're decent items, decent stopgaps for me to plug into the golem build as is. We're not sending this golem out because we're just gonna wait for him to have a bracer of protection, so no big there. So he'll go out next turn. This turn he is just researching. And what else are we doing? Oh, right. We are patrolling, right? We've taken one of our EV summoners off, but we are patrolling with them, with a bunch of our trash units and then a bunch of EVs, and the entire purpose of this is just to see if we can't catch the spy and get the spy out of the way. Zenville is not ready to move out. He needs 1 more turn. We have a whole bunch of people right on the border of leveling, but next turn we're going to have a shit ton of people level. And he's going to roll out with probably about 30 units or so. So that'll be good. We'll have another party in the field. And then we're also, another reason why we're recruiting swimmers is because we are doing that yet? We're not doing it right now because we're low on hammers. So we're potentially going to start stockpiling water bracelets for the purpose of having swimmers. These are very cheap water bracelets. We can put water bracelets on swimmers and have them be decent water 2 mages. And that's almost entirely to see if we can't challenge Atlantis on the long term. This is nowhere near the future, right? But if we are successful with Olivine City, we have to start thinking about what else can we do, and Atlantis might be one of those other options, right? Letting Atlantis sit and control the water for eternity might not be a very good idea. I don't know that we have a good way to challenge him, but between basically between our mass of Vaporeons and our potential to mass Polyraths, we can get a bunch of these guys really quickly. If we could augment them with a bunch of water elemental casters, basically, very cheap water elemental casters, then we could potentially do something about that. Other big thing that we are doing right here is, you might notice we are doing an empowerment, and we have no death gems. That's because we are spending 50 death gems to empower Cameron the photographer in death. And we're doing this almost specifically for one particular... is this water? Yeah, it streams from Hades. So this basically one particular spell needs water 4, which we have, and 1 death, which we will have, and that gives us a Cocythiad. Cocythiads are water 3, death 3. Water 3 is, like I was just saying, water 3 is potentially very useful to us, or just good water mages in general are very useful to us. But really, that's that death 3. Death 3 breaks us into death. We already have 3 death income. With death 3, we can do something like, shit, what is it? Is it a white? Yeah. No, not a white. A Bane. Not a Bane. Can't remember what the hell it is. It's not... Create Revenant. Okay, so a Revenant, right? With a Cocythiad, we can make a Revenant. Revenant is a Death 1 mage. That Death 1 mage, because we don't want the Cocythiad to be doing this, because the Cocythiad is more valuable than that. But with a Revenant, we can start doing Dark Knowledge, right? You only need to have 1 death to cast Dark Knowledge. And all we will need is 1 more gem per month. 1 successful casting gets us 4 gems, and then we can start dark knowledging every province, right? In 10, 15, 20 turns, we might actually have a reasonable death income, and then we're broken into death, right? So that's just options that we have on our board. At that point, we won't have great access, right? We don't have great access in fire. We don't have great access in air. We'll have better access in water, right? We'll have better access in death. We don't have great access in nature. We have decent access in earth. And I'm talking about outside of our god, right? Because we have pretty good access in several paths because of our god. And hopefully we'll have more in the long run. We are chilling out on the golem creation, right? We now have, thanks to having Saffron City, we now have 13 astral pearls per turn. Hopefully we will grow that. And yeah, okay, so we've got a whole bunch of stuff that what do you actually get from... Oh, Viridian City just gets 1 of everything. This is kind of, I don't know if this is great or if this is underwhelming, right? Because it just adds to the overall spread, which is nice. It's the consistency, but it doesn't like really jumpstart you in one particular thing, like, you know, 6 astral does, or I guess we're kind of spread too. Oofs. Anyways, so that's the turn. That's what we're doing. Empowering for Cocythiads. That's going to get us a bunch of different options. A lot of what we're gonna do, and we have the water gems to spare. Easily have the water gems to spare. In fact, depending on what we do, we might even be able to do more Cocythiads for other intents. We'll see. But for right now, I think that's all that we're going to try to do. We might look into some other options as far as air summons go. I wish now that he had fire. We're doing a couple of the swimmer recruitments, and we're doing prodigies whenever we can fill them in, but we're probably going to have to start looking at Karate Kings just to see if... I say just to see if we can get the third random. Because we've got... Where's our Karate King? Ah, Fanon, right? He is the individual. He has gotten 2 fire randoms. The most we can get is 3 fire randoms. So I'm trying to decide whether or not it would be good to fish for him, or fish for one of those, or whether it would just be better to go ahead and boost him, right? We have a good amount of fire gems stored up. We have a very decent income. So I'm in this concept of maybe it's a good idea to boost him, but I'm still sitting on that idea for now. We'll see. Okay, I think that is probably it for the turn. We're trying to make pretty good use of our inventory here. We're making a whole lot of moves. We have a much more successful turn than we have had in many turns. Hopefully that is the direction. Now I'm expecting a couple backslides here or there as Olivine, fights, right? Like he's not just going to roll over and die. He's going to fight back against me, and he might even try to call people in. We'll have to see. But for now, I think we're probably going to start seeing a little bit of an upswing. Okay, so that's it for the turn. I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.